This is the Afterbrews, of course, sponsored in part by Trek CBD. You can find them at trekcbd.com, and more episodes of Business and Brews, Afterbrews, and our new podcast, How to Build a Business During a Pandemic, at businessandbrewshow.com. My name, of course, is Ryan Smeltz.
My name is Gavin Benson.
Late night party thought when the night gets lonely. I don't want to be just an in between, some old faithful flame when you're all going wrong.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Super excited for my phone to be ringing while we're live right now. But anyways, we were going to have Molly from Saving Grace on. We had a couple hiccups, so I wanted to go ahead and give her a plug. As you see, her logo is up here. What excites me most about tonight is because we've just got a stars feature enabled on Facebook. And basically what that allows us to do is you as the audience can give us stars if we're doing a good job, if you're learning anything new, or if you just want to help. The best part about this is that because this is the first night and Saving Grace, Molly was going to be our guest, all the proceeds from those stars are going to go to Saving Grace. So if you like puppies and you want to ensure their safe and healthy adoption, then go ahead and give us some stars.
I like it.
I like
Great
that.
calls.
Welcome, Nick.
Hey, it's great to be here.
I know this guy.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Long time no see, man. What you been up to?
Can I say I missed you guys? Can I say that?
You can.
I think I don't know if you guys fired me as a producer, but
Oh,
with
no,
the
no,
opening
no.
of the opening of the new store in Holly Springs,
I think with the opening of the new store, we couldn't afford you. Your hourly rate went up tremendously.
from free to free. Yeah, that's good though. I like that. No, I missed you guys. I mean, I was used to being here when I was in this store every Sunday with you guys. I love the show. I think Scott and myself, when we were on the show, just knew that we wanted to be a part of this show and be a part of what is no doubt today's success and beyond that. But no, things are good, man. Things are busy. My wife has stepped into the role of running this store here in Wake Forest. We're interviewing employees right now, and we're getting Holly Springs off the ground, which I didn't know a lot about Holly Springs before we went down there, but it's very similar to Wake Forest. It's growing. A lot of young, good families. And I'm just really enjoying getting to know the people down there. But it's been a good start. We've been there for only about 8 days so far, but it's been a good start so far.
Well, good. We're glad that you're here, man. We definitely missed you as well, man. And, if nothing else, congratulations on the new location. I mean, that's awesome.
Thank you. I want to give a shout-out also to Scott, because Scott is in Lincoln, Nebraska, in our third store. So our third store is open in Lincoln, Nebraska. So check out our website because trekcbd.com, Trek CBD, does have all of our locations on there. But yeah, we're excited.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So we totally skipped over our little music there, but
You can still do it. This is your show. You can do what you want to do.
You want to do it?
Yeah, you can.
It gives us an 18-second break, so we can inhale, and we can exhale.
Or you can down a whole beer. Either way.
Okay, so I think we're going to knock that out really quick, just because apparently I get to do what I want, according to Gavin. But when we come back, in case you guys didn't know, we're going to be talking to Nick. I think we're talking about networking and finding a mentor.
Yeah. Or whatever else comes. Or flat Earth.
It's a possibility. Probably for the Afterbrews. It's a possibility. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Business and Brews podcast, where our mission is to highlight local businesses in the Triangle area and shed light on different industries.
It was great. Yeah.
Awesome. So welcome back. So we have Nick tonight. Like I said, Molly of Saving Grace. We had a couple of hiccups. I'm still super excited because like I said, we're gonna rebook, so we'll still get to hear all about them. And Nick is excited as well because he likes to network, so he wants to meet with Molly.
I do.
Tell us about that.
I've had several neighbors that have had just great experiences with Saving Grace. Not only the process of adopting an animal, but the animals that they've had have been great. And at Trek CBD, we certainly didn't start off with the intent of being a pet care company. In terms of that, we took on a pet care line almost immediately from a company called Honest Paws. And Honest Paws in the CBD world, all they do is pets. So there's a lot of companies that are popping up these days, and it's kind of like their ancillary thing. Honest Paws, that's their focus. And they basically help pets either through wellness overall, if you got a pet that's aging and they need some help with, just their joints, and as we do from arthritis perspective, whether it's from an anxiety perspective. And we do see customers coming in for their rescued pets because they do get some separation anxiety, or they're just uncomfortable in their new setting, or they have reactions to loud noises. So we have dog treats and we have peanut butters that will help those dogs acclimate to their new home and also adjust to the environment as well too. And then the other part of it is just also from skin perspective. Some dogs have allergies and skin conditions, and we have a whole line that supports just healthy skin and healthy coats. So we didn't start off that way, but I love this organization. Molly, you and I have not met yet, but I do want to meet you. It's been on the to-do list for a long time because I would love to be aligned with an organization like that does help and rescue pets.
Yeah, they're super awesome. So I was telling you before we went live that I used to get to volunteer up there, and I love it because they can take you to the side if you're looking at adopting a dog. If you've got another pet at home, you can bring it. They have an area that you can sit down with both of them, see how they interact. So it's almost like you get to see the pet's temperament and kind of see if it fits into your family before you make the final decision.
Gotcha.
Which is really nice because they don't have to go into any shocking circumstances. But then if they do, I know personally I've used at least one of your products over there for Nugget, and it's super helpful.
How is Nugget doing?
He's a puppy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You guys know, we'll be sitting there, and this dude will be like, just randomly, like around the couch, and then just stop. Toyo will send me videos
of just him,
and he's like
doing what he's supposed to do, though, right?
Yeah,
He's a puppy, right?
Yeah.
I'm so fast.
Yeah.
He'll cry. We'll take him outside. Then he'll just stand there.
Right on.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, so I think I want you to, because you were talking about this before, but I want you to tell us about the beer that you brought.
Yeah, this is by far, no offense to anybody out there, but this is my favorite beer. Okay, so it's Red Oak. It's a Bavarian lager. You have to find it in the refrigerated section because it's only shipped cold. There's no preservatives in it. And the story for me with my relationship with Red Oak was on about 10 years ago, I was working for a pharmaceutical company in Florida, and I kept coming up to here because their home office was here in Raleigh. And one night I was staying in a hotel, and I went down to the bar, and I struck up a relationship with the bartender. We started talking, and I said, "What's that Red Oak there on tap?" And he's like, "Oh, let me pour you one." Well, as the story goes from there, I was hooked from there. And as soon as I moved here, it's only sold in North Carolina, I believe. So as soon as I moved here, I got a couple of my neighbors turned on to it. And their brewery facility is in Whitsett, so it's not too far from here. But love all the breweries we've had on the show.
Yeah.
This one is just kind of like my first love for North Carolina. So
Nice.
if you like lagers, try Red Oak.
See, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that they shipped it refrigerated. I did not know
cold.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
The Bavarian. I've had two of theirs, but I've never had this one. And it's really good.
I like it.
It's
Yeah.
really good.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What did you bring, Gavin?
I brought to go along with your beard, I brought the Appalachian Mountain Brewery. This is the blonde Boone Creek one.
Nice.
It reminded me of a mountain man, so I figured I'd bring a little bit of Appalachia to you.
I appreciate that.
No problem, man. No problem. I'm always thinking about you.
Right.
Right on.
Awesome. So, I know we were talking about, networking and finding a mentor.
Yeah.
And I feel like at times I have more than one for more than one purpose. But I know you're really good with networking. Even all the guests we bring on the show, you make sure to reach out, shake their hands, send them an email, stuff like that. But outside of that, what are some things you do?
Yeah, so a couple things. I mean, networking for me has taken on different forms in my career. When I was in the corporate world before, mentorships in some situations were very structured, right? It's like one of those things, like every single year you're doing your development plan, your personal development plan.
Right.
And there was a part there where they would say, well, who do you want for a mentor, right? And you'd just kind of pick somebody. And I think earlier on in my career, it was a check the box kind of a thing where it's like, all right, I'll take this person. But as I progressed in my career and sort of kind of learned from others in this, it wasn't my idea, but it's like, what are you looking to get out of your next 12 months? Or where are you looking to grow? Like, what are your strengths and where are your opportunities? And for me, I always tried to find a mentor that could really help me grow, whether it's personally or from a business standpoint. So when I say personally, it could be like, in the years, maybe it's somebody that just does an amazing job in terms of balancing their work and family life. Like they've got 4 or 5 kids and they've got a full-time job and they're just seem like they're always on an even keel. So there were times in my career when I was coming up through the ranks that I would seek out somebody like that, right? And say, okay, so, let me learn from you about how I can do a better job. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father, how I can do that. Then there were other times in my career when I was more focused on, let's be honest, my career.
Right.
And I wanted to get to that next level. And I wanted to kind of pick the brain of the person that's been there. Because I'm a big believer that, as we've talked about on our other show about building a business in a pandemic, when you can learn from others, why not?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why not learn from others? So I remember when I was coming up and I was a sales rep, I was working for a pharmaceutical company, I was a sales rep, and I wanted to be a manager. That was my thing. I wanted to be a leader of people. I get a lot of energy from helping others succeed. So, but I also wanted to learn about, I get that part of the job, and I think I can do that because I've done it in other industries I was in before that. But what is it like on the more functional side of things? How do you lead people and also grow a business at the same time? So I sought out mentors that were specifically, the role I was achieving for, my next role, essentially around there. To the point where one of the most proudest mentorships I've ever had in my career was when I was in a mentoring program that was specifically around diversity, and it was called Reverse Diverse Mentorship. Reverse Diverse Mentorship. So what was that? Basically, it was where I, at the time I was a senior leader in the organization, was teamed up with somebody, not a peer. This was somebody that was not a peer for me, but that was a Latina female. And that's something that I wanted to understand. I said, listen, I can tell you what it's like to work for this company as a white male, as a white 40-year-old male. I have no idea what it's like as to be female and also be of Hispanic persuasion, right? And I'll tell you one thing. It was one of the most enriching experiences of my career because I got to learn from that person. I got to ask questions. I think you and I were talking about this before the show, Gavin. So many times people don't understand the other person's position. They either jump to conclusions in some aspects. Maybe they don't want to take the time to learn. But in sometimes, at least what I found, and I'll be completely honest as a white male, sometimes it's hard to get into a conversation and be like, hey, what's it like to be you?
Right.
You feel like that's kind of like out of bounds, right? Like, what's it like to be you? So in this mentoring situation, it was all about just go into it. And one of my good friends, Lorenzo Clarity, former officer, captain in the military, piloted this program, and he asked me if I wanted to participate, and I jumped at it, and I said, absolutely I do. And it was some of the most honest conversations I've had in my professional career. It enriched me as a person, not just as a business leader at the time, but as a person. And to this day, it kind of gave me permissions that I don't think I had before in terms of when I sit down with somebody, I do want to understand what it's like to be you. I want to understand what it's like to be you, because we all have different diversities in our life, whether it's race, ethnicity, background. I don't know what it's like to be in the military. You've taught me so much about that. But that's been probably one of my most rewarding mentorships. And that was just, wanting to take the first step and find out more about that.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot. I mean, very rarely do you get the one that actually affects you both personal and the business side too as well. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot, because something you mentioned just now is being given an opportunity and saying yes to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, obviously you wouldn't have gained all that knowledge and experience if you had just sat back and let it pass you by.
Yep.
So I always like to say this: the first step to success is show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you did that there. So, like, is that something you've done often, where you've seen a lot of opportunity because you're always seeking the next one?
I'm just a naturally curious person. You know that from our working together. I just love to learn. Right. There's so many things about my career, if I kind of paste it together, that just honestly I can't underscore enough. Be curious. Just be curious. Find something new. I was just very fortunate to have a career where I got to do different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
From a place where I started off when I was 14 working in restaurants and worked my way up through the corporate world there, working for Hyatt Hotels, then reinvented myself to go into sales, and then worked my way up through there and actually moved into a very technical field in pharmaceuticals and worked my way up all the way to a senior leadership position there. But it's all, and I tell them this to my kids, it's all based on being curious. And if I'm being completely honest, and again, back to our previous conversation, I think the world is lacking a little bit of curiosity right now.
Sure.
Where they think they know what it is and they don't want to sit down and understand, because I think part of that is throughout that journey it might change your mind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being so entrenched in, I mean, listen, I'm like everybody else. I have strong beliefs. Talk to my wife. I have strong beliefs, right? But my beliefs are, you can change my mind.
Right.
You can change my mind on some things, not everything. There's some things that are just rock hard values for me, but on some things I'm like, you know what? I understand your position now. I'm willing to say that, you know what? Maybe that position can be opened. So curiosity to me is just huge. So I think that's what kind of led me to those things. And even today led me into a business of entrepreneurship where, up until about a year and a half ago, I had no idea how to run a business myself. I came from the corporate world. Everything's provided to you there, right? It's very safe to where you're literally off on your own. And now, to tie into this, networking took on a different angle for me. I actually had to, there's no one in my current business right now that I can network with. I'm not in a large organization before. Like, I was in an organization of 100,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I joined a networking organization called BNI.
Right.
And I joined the organization, and fast forward a year later, I'm now the president of our chapter. Shout out to RD39. Great group of people, but we all get together on a weekly basis. And the idea is we build trust with each other, we share experiences, and we help each other's businesses grow. And that's an environment that I love.
Yeah.
I love to be in those kind of environments to help other people.
Especially when, I think that the fact that it's a win-win situation is kind of what you're alluding to, like where you help each other's businesses grow.
Yep.
And, like you were saying before, like it's just funny, like how I think the curiosity piece ties into how you evolve over time as a person.
Yes.
And, a big piece of that is, sometimes you go down a path and you're like, I'm chasing this. And then when you get there, you realize, oh, this is great, but there's something else out there that I want to do.
Yep.
And it takes a lot. It really does take a lot to actually redefine yourself and reinvent yourself and say, hey, I was doing that then, and now I want to go at it and go chase this. It definitely takes a lot.
I pray that it never ends.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to make sure is that if it's, whatever it is, like, 20 years from now when I'm, slowing down, maybe not, I don't know. But if I'm slowing down,
I don't think you go
whatever
slow.
it is, the flying car, they were talking about that since I was a kid, but the flying car, I hope I'm still curious enough to be like, I want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to learn how to do that, whatever it is. So yeah, that's the curiosity.
Yeah, I just think it's just tough because so many people kind of, they may view you a certain way, and then, because you've been doing something for so long, and then you're like, no, I want to do something different. And people are like, no, but you're good at this. It's like, no, I can be good at more than one thing.
Yeah. And see why not?
I think it's interesting the way you say that, because it's like I'm a believer in
Scientology.
Focus.
Oh.
Please don't say that. That's a completely separate conversation. I'm a believer that if I focus on too many things at one time, then nothing gets my focus. So a jack of all trades, a master of none, so to speak.
Right.
But kind of transitioning from one thing to another. So I think one example of that with me personally is that I run e-commerce businesses, and though that has changed a little bit over the years, now the focus is primarily just the velocity of those products over the internet. But I'm also in sales, like face-to-face business sales.
Yep.
So I think that's something where I kind of got one thing under control, and then I transitioned a little bit, and so I'm still able to center that focus, but at the same time I've got this whole other thing that I'm able to do as well.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah.
No surprise though. Knowing
Yeah.
you, no surprise at all.
Yeah. I'm not surprised at all. Yeah.
but what was it like? Because I know you talked about like the mentorship program there and how you network now, but I'm curious because you saw that transition, from pharmaceuticals to and the corporate world to, now I own and run my own business. What was that like, and how did you go about finding new mentors?
I think a lot of the new mentors were the old mentors. I think I just looked at some of them a little bit different in the fact that before, when I was building my career in the corporate world, there's only so many mentors you can have, right?
Right.
I mean, you, like you said before, beautiful sentiment around focus. So if you have 5 different mentors going on at once, you're going to get nothing done, right?
Right.
I always like to have just one mentor for a fixed period of time. And honestly, sometimes in my career, that one mentor for a period of time was like an executive coach for me. So somebody that was just working on me, and that was it, because that's what I needed at the time. But just having one mentor at the time, I think is can be good, because if not, you just get too diluted, and you're not giving your focus to that one person.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it was when I started this business, it was going back and reaching out to people that I might not have thought would be mentors before. Give you an example of this. Like, in my corporate experience, I was in a marketing function for a little over a year. But by no means would I have called myself a marketer, right? I spent some time in that function, but no means. But now in this business, we're creating a brand here. So I've reached out to some of those people and said, hey, at the time I was in that marketing function for a small time, so we probably can get a time to network. Now I'd really love to learn a little bit more, because I'd like to learn more about what made you successful, and also at the same time I know that can help our current situation at Trek CBD become a bigger and better brand. So to me, it's just, like I said, it's your network, right? And I think if anybody sat down, that you could be listening to this tonight and say, well, I haven't spent 20 years in the corporate world. Yeah, but you know what? If you went through your list of Facebook friends or Instagram profiles, you're going to find people there that I bet if you picked up the phone and you said, hey, you know what, Gavin, I know you know, I'd like to know a little bit more about the car business. And you know what? We'd find time to carve out, and we talk about that. If that's something that I felt that could enrich me. And I know you would do that for me. I mean, around that. So I think it's just using your network, and your network at different times is going to have, to me, I would say different priorities. And for me now, I'm drawing on different priorities because I'm running a business.
Right.
Where before, I had to focus my priorities on what do I need, what at the time, like if I was thinking about my last role, I was leading a large team as a field vice president. So what did I need to make me a better leader at the time so I can help my team be better? That was my focus, right? Now it's different. It's like it's collecting people that will help this business grow, and also at the same time help me grow. And on that same note, I would say that some of my mentors are one-way mentors, meaning like I choose podcasts or I choose blogs or books that are going to enrich me, but it's not a two-way dialogue, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean, but that's the great thing about, I mean, everything now with the podcast and YouTube and I mean, just everything that's out there, Audible, and I mean, and of course, books. You get the perspective of so many great people,
Yep.
and I'm of the mindset success leaves clues. I mean,
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is just follow. I mean, but to your point, Ryan, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, as far as you can't be too focused on different things, but the thing is, it's like kind of the bridge analogy. Like if we're on Reality Island and we're trying to build a bridge to our dreams, we're going to focus our efforts and time on building one bridge before we start another bridge or before we start an extension or a second lane on that bridge. But you're right, that priority has to be on building that first bridge and getting across. After you got that bridge done, then you can focus on something different.
I like the lane analogy. We normally refer to it as spinning plates. You've seen the guy at the circus.
Yeah.
You know, he gets one going, then the next one, and then the next one. But I like the lane analogy because it's like that bridge to my dreams initially might be a, you know, rope and wood, but then at the end now it's a, you know, 4-lane highway or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that, you know, I don't think you're ever done learning, right? And I don't think that, you know, in my mentoring relationships, I can say that when I've been the mentor and I've been the mentee, you know, some have been better than others, but I will say one thing. When I was the mentee and I was looking to seek knowledge from somebody else, the best relationships we had were the ones where I was the most vulnerable. So when I went into it with a total openness to say, hey, you know what? I really want to learn from your experiences. There's no question that's off the table, whatever it is, because I really wanted to develop and grow, not just prove to that person how good I was or stay the person I was. I was really looking to evolve and change. So I think if I give one piece of advice to anybody listening tonight, if you're going to seek a mentoring relationship, as you're building trust with that person that's going to mentor you, make sure you really have a contract that's built on raw candor. That you can say, you know what, I'm going to share with you everything that I'm going to do, that I'm doing right now, so you get an understanding of what I'm doing, and I want to learn from you, and I expect the same. I expect you to be totally transparent with me. But at the same point, if you got advice for me, right, hit me with both barrels. Just do that. Just do me the favor of that, because I think that, and that's why I would say, we didn't talk about this before, but I specifically chose mentors that were never in, if you're in an organization, that were never in my direct line, basically, above me, because if I'm like in the potential of reporting to you, either if it's 2 levels up or whatever, I'm not going to be vulnerable with you. I mean, crap, you might be hiring me one day.
Conflict of interest.
I want to find somebody that has no interest in me whatsoever, but has something I can learn from. So then I can be vulnerable with them. They can be brutally honest with me, and then I'm going to grow, and hopefully they're going to grow at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
That reminds me of the Army because, you know, I had direct supervisors all the way up that I would learn from, that I would talk to, you know, but then there were these people. We had a lot of networking opportunities when we would go to leadership schools, and so that's where I would find mentors in other aspects. Maybe someone who had been in longer or had seen certain situations more, but it gave me a lot of opportunity to basically talk to those people, network with them, you know, and then say, hey, you know what, you've got 5 or 10 years of experience on me in this specific position or rank or type of unit. I want to stay in touch with you and you know, meet on a regular basis. And I feel like you're right. I was more open with them than I would have been the guy writing my review.
Yeah. For obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's
Obvious reasons.
it's just the way of the world. Yeah. So I mean, to me that's like mentoring. I mean, I think if we want to transition to kind of networking a little bit, I mean, you know, networking to me is I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to call it out. I think networking to me is one of the most uncomfortable things you do, right? I mean, at least for me it is. I mean, because I always feel like if I'm going to network with you, Kevin, or you, Ryan, I'm like, God, I got to like, what am I going to, like, what's in it for them? You know what I mean? I mean, well, why would they want to network with me? Whether it's a, you know, in Trek CBD, if I'm going into it from like I want to meet a chiropractor, and so chiropractors can help build our business, or, you know, if I want to meet Molly at you know, at Saving Grace, right? I kind of feel like it's so uncomfortable because I feel like I'm selling you something, right? I mean, where I think that was my earlier part of my career, but the latter part of my career was more around how can I help you?
Right.
You know what I mean? What can I do? Like I could care less if at the end of the day if I'm in a relationship that if I can help you in some way, then I know in the world of, and I do believe in like karma, it's going to come around to me eventually.
Right.
But if there's no direct line to me, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if I end up making a relationship with somebody, if I end up helping them grow their business, it'll eventually come back to me. And that mindset has helped me enter networking situations and absolutely become successful because it was less about me and more about them.
Yeah, I mean, and that's very important. I mean, I think the thing that gets lost, I mean, with networking, and the thing that drives me crazy is like you go to these networking events, and there's always a person who just wants to pass out as many business cards as they can pass out.
Yep.
And one of the things I've definitely found, I mean, just I've had to do a lot of networking in the past, or I'm still currently, but it's just better to build strong relationships with people than to just give your card to a whole bunch of people. It's just much more important. The quality is a lot more important than the quantity.
I'm so glad you said that, because I don't have business cards, and I can't stand it when people ask me for them. One of the challenges when I meet someone is them going,
they want to rub your beard, don't they?
Usually guys, yeah. Usually.
Interesting.
Usually.
I feel like I'm missing out. I haven't touched your beard since the time I've known you.
You're not missing out. Yeah. Nobody touches it, but
at least not twice.
Thank you.
Right. But I meet someone and they go, all right, well, let's schedule an appointment, and I say, okay, no problem. What do you have available tomorrow or Friday, whatever? And they go, well, you have to call. Give me your card, and I'll send you an email with my phone number so you can. And I'm like, what in the world are we doing here? This seems like
this is what I
very
love about,
extravagant maze in order. So I agree with you, Gavin, building the relationship, and I believe that's easy and difficult, but just making sure, like, one thing I did is when I hire somebody new, I call them. I call them the same day to follow up.
Yep.
Congratulations. Sent you these emails. If you have any questions, this is my cell phone number.
Yep.
This is my personal cell phone number. If you need anything, if you need any help, you have any questions, reach out. Shoot me a text, send me a phone call, whatever you want to do. Save your number, so if you call me, it rings. Hey, got big plans for the weekend, whatever. And then I set the expectation for the follow-up call, which I'm going to follow up with you day before. Now, don't get me wrong. This is something not only was I taught, but I struggled with because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing it consistently. I wasn't doing it right. But that relationship building has paid off for me so much more than a stupid business card.
Right.
But I think people make time for what's important to them, right? So I think what you're saying, what I pick up from what you're saying, and this is what I love about you, Ryan, is that you're just so real, right, in terms of everything, is that, my business card that sits on the counter at Trek CBD has my cell phone number on there, has my email address on there. I came up, and when I first got a position of significant leadership when I was a vice president, and people would approach me and say, that conversation about, well, what do I need to do to get on your calendar? Will you actually make time for me? You're in my organization. I'll make time for you anytime, right? We'll have to navigate. Obviously, I have some obligations. We'll have to navigate that, but there's no way I won't find time for you, right? If you're patient, whether it's before work, after work, I'll find time for you. There's not a time for you two guys that I wouldn't find time for. Right. You know what I mean? I will find time if it's important. So I think it's just what you make important. And I think some people, like, if I'm being brutally honest, like to make themselves more important.
Right.
And I've experienced that in my career where people are like, well, you have to talk to my secretary and get time, my admin, and get time on my calendar. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I'm like, just text me, call me, and we'll figure it out. I can't promise you that I can be at your beck and call, but we'll find time. So that's to me is just the authenticity and the genuineness that I love about you. Is the fact that I know you genuinely want to help people, and that's been something that I can share as a value with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a great trait of a leader. I mean, I think that the good leaders understand that the higher up that you get,
Yeah.
the more that you actually work for your employees than the other way around. Because I mean, they're the ones, especially the larger the business gets, they're the ones that are the front line every day that are facing the customer.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you don't treat them right, then it just snowballs from there.
Yeah, because I know a book I shared with you was Team of Teams.
Yes, I'm
with-
halfway through it.
with General Stanley Crystal, and he talks about, I can't remember exactly how he said it, right? But he talked about, when you're a general, right? And you come to town, there's a show, right? There's a big show, right? Like suddenly everyone's polished and printed.
Right.
And I recognized that when I became a vice president, that, that there's a show when you come to town. I don't want the show, because within the show, you lose reality. And within loss of reality, you become disconnected from what's actually going on. And I know in his book, he worked hard to disconnect that show and be like, hey, when I'm showing up, let's just get down to what's going on here and how I can help. How I can help as somebody who could be, I'm going to butcher this, Ryan, so correct me this, but you're a private in the organization and he's a multiple star general. We're so far removed, but he really wanted to understand what was going on at that level. So whatever he could do, he could help with that. So it goes back to intent. Are you really there to help, or are you really there to kind of put on the show and get told what you want to hear?
Yeah.
But I want to know how I can help in everything I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other piece that you were talking about was the karma piece, like the not so what's in it for me right now, like when it comes to the networking piece. And like I think that's the thing that just drives me crazy, like when you go to these networking events and like if you're not in the right industry, or if they don't see exactly how you can help them in the here and now, then it's like, okay, well, on to the next one. Let me figure out who can help me right now, with whatever I have going on.
Yeah, I mean this with all sincerity, and if I'm looking at the camera at the same time, I think it's a privilege for us to be a part of you guys, because I believe in you guys, and we talked about this off camera before the show, the whole thing, but I believe in what you all are doing in terms of spotlighting small business owners. You ask genuine and real questions, so I just wanted to be a part of this, regardless of whatever it does for Trek CBD. I wanted to be a part of this to help you guys, because you just meet people in your life, and I'm like, I believe in you two so much that's what this is about. So that's what just drives everything that I think that we do, and also that I believe is that if I invest in you, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? The world's going to be a better place.
Yeah.
If it doesn't result in a business outcome, I'll find another business outcome somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what it's all about. I mean, so subscribe to the show, please. I mean, this is something you want to be a part of as well. So subscribe to the show.
Please stop by the Wake Forest location or the Holly Springs location.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Nebraska, is it Lincoln, Nebraska?
It's Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln,
yeah.
Nebraska.
Yep, it is. It is. Yeah.
So get some corn and go to Trek CBD in Nebraska.
That's so true.
Some CBD corn.
Hey,
There you go.
hey.
That's right.
You're an idea man. I love that about you.
I'm just saying, you go to the state fair and they do that crazy stuff, or the markets or whatnot.
You mean
They
like fried butter, you
sprinkle
mean?
it and they cover. No, I mean like, dude, I don't know if you've seen it, but they do corn on the cob with like toppings.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's
Like
crazy.
Mexican street corn, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like
it
that's-
gets elaborate. It gets elaborate.
Take a moment. Just take a moment there. That's food is the weight of my heart.
No,
That's-
definitely, but yeah, I mean, if we just take a look at the face value of what's taking place here, I started on YouTube and doing my own podcast now 3 or 4 years ago, and because of the dynamic, because of a shift in goals, I think we have been able to accomplish so much more, during that time period, because first I have Gavin, and he's like, I have this idea. We started working together, so 2 heads are better than 1. After that, we have you, and you were like, hey, I want to be a part of this. What can we do? How can I help? Those are important questions, and when posed, we answered them, and we come to an agreement where we're like, what if we just hold the show here
Yeah.
every week? Now we've got a solid place. It's a really good location.
Mm-hmm.
It gives attention, especially with this thing right here, to the guests that we have on. But I just feel like overall the value that we're able to offer now is so much greater than what I was doing on day zero.
I think that's a beautiful segue into where you started this whole thing around networking and mentoring, and it's finding somebody in it. Listen, it might take you a few, right? It's finding somebody who's going to do that, who's going to say, I get it. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in your life, you could be 18, you could be 35, you could be 55. Doesn't matter. Where do you want to grow? Where do you want to go, basically?
Mm-hmm.
And if you think I can help you get there, it'd be a privilege, right? And I mean that to anybody listening to the podcast tonight. If you think that there is something I can share humbly with you, let's get time on the calendar together, right? Because if you can find somebody like that, and it might take you 10, it might take you 100 people to find the one person that's going to be genuine enough to say, you know what, I will take, let's be honest, an hour a month and invest in you because you want to learn and I feel like I can give you some. If you can find that one person, just keep knocking down doors until you find it.
Yeah.
Just keep knocking down doors, right? Because and I mean, well, let's be honest about that. Knocking down doors, go door to door if you have to. Go LinkedIn profiles, go Facebook, whatever it is. If there's a company or a person that you emulate because you've been following them, you're a Gary Vaynerchuk guy. I know. Tell us about that. Have you reached out to Gary Vaynerchuk? I'm curious about that. But I mean, I'm serious. Aim big, right?
I got put on the spot.
No, I'm serious.
So I would say I've not.
Okay.
You know, to get him on the show, as far as what we talked about before, Gary Vaynerchuk helped pilot and or test Community, which is basically texting at scale, but it's not like what you think. It's not like group texting. Like I send everybody a text message. It's like if I have 60 people that ask me, hey, what's it like to own a business? And I respond, that response only goes to those 60. If my audience, if my community, very appropriately, I'm giving them a plug. I'm not even an affiliate or anything, but if my community is 5,000 people and those 60 ask that question, they get that response. It's much more personalized. He sends videos and stuff like that. And I have tried to converse on that platform. Definitely didn't work out the way I had originally planned. So as far as where to send it, but I definitely should, because pretty much I feel like it just comes down to, hey, if you're in North Carolina and you like beer, we got a seat you can sit in. That's pretty much it.
I love it. But I mean, the idea is that you can never aim too big because you never know who's going to say yes. You're going to get a lot of no's along the way.
Absolutely.
Right? There's no doubt about that. But if it's important to you, I mean, if you aim big, you might find somebody that's willing to invest time with you.
Yeah.
If you can convey the reason why they should be investing with you.
Definitely.
If you're vulnerable enough to say, listen, this is what I know from you, and this is why I think you can enrich me, I wouldn't say no to that, honestly.
I think we have our goal for 2021.
There you go.
We did. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
So we are at our hard stop.
Okay.
I was going to look it up real
Darn,
quick.
we didn't even talk about flat Earth.
We didn't talk about flat
can.
Earth.
No, I mean, you've been bringing this up for like the past 5 weeks.
Okay, so first of all, there is a podcast.
Okay. All right,
There's several podcasts called the Flat Earth Podcast. And basically, I have someone I work with who has a science degree. I have someone I work with who has a PhD in physics, used to teach physics. And I have a basic understanding of, how things work. So I do not believe that the earth is flat. Okay, that's going to upset about 100,000 people throughout the world. But My
But in
my
fairness, you're an
argument.
Army guy. The Navy guys might feel different about that.
That's that's a fair statement. But the podcast had a 10-year Army veteran on it
Okay.
who said that it and was arguing. And I heard what he was saying. I still disagree with him. I am a 10-year Army vet. But the point that I'm making is, number one, it's entertaining to listen to at the least. Number two, Toya and I are working on creating more episodes to our podcast.
Okay.
Podcaster Conspiracy. It's something we did like 2 episodes of 2 years ago and haven't touched since. And I was like, well, why not? So just to let you guys know, it's all made up.
Nice.
The whole premise of the podcast is that nothing is fact-based. It's all just, either our opinions or speculations or creative minds at work. And so, material like that contributes to that podcast. But also I just like messing with people.
I love it.
So last week we did Jeopardy on Friday, and I made one of the categories Flat Earth Facts, but it was as if the Earth was flat. Then this is true or false. So,
Gotcha.
I like that.
yeah,
Okay.
it was fun.
Well, at least I got to the bottom of it.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever met in person a flat earther, but I am a background. So one thing I try not to do is troll the community, because I have opinions and beliefs, and if somebody came along and was throwing rocks in my arena, then I would get upset. So I try not to do that. There are people who do that, but there's a group on Facebook. They had a convention in Cary a few years ago. So I try to leave it alone in general and just use it to learn and be entertained.
Completely.
But,
I'm with you.
but yeah, I definitely don't believe the Earth is flat. But on another note, I would love to go ahead and give a shout out to our next guest.
Okay.
It says it's Connor Gross. I hope I'm saying that right. Of Shine Window Cleaning. So he's going to be on next week. Super excited for that. We're going to have posts throughout the week to cover this show and the upcoming show. But like I said, we've got stars now, so we'll probably decide where the stars are headed each episode. So if you give us some stars tonight, that's all going to Saving Grace. Any money we raise through that.
And if we can, let's just give a shout out, because that's why we're here, right? Is to Trek CBD in terms of, we talked about pets earlier in the beginning, but let's be honest, there's something happening on Tuesday where some people are going to be happy, some people are going to be not happy, and the stress level might be going up a tad,
Just a
okay,
little
on top of that. But what we do here at Trek CBD is we help people simply stress less, sleep better, and move more, because CBD can help people literally sleep better. It can bring on a sense of calm, okay? So it takes the edge off in terms of stress and anxiety. And then if you've got pain in your life right now, it'll help you move more. That's why we say stress less, move more, sleep better around that. But if we can help you, one of the things we talked about before camera was we want to do something special for the audience here. So we're going to do a BNB 15, where you're going to save 15% off your order, and this is going to be in the show notes. But again, BNB, so BNB 15, and you're going to save 15% off your order. So that's significant because we already offer free shipping. So if you're listening to this, you're going to say, well, 15% is good, but with free shipping, it's even better. And again, you know what? We know that right now 2020 is a unique year, and it is a year where people's anxiety has gone up. Gavin, you and I were talking about this morning that we watched CBS Sunday Morning, and they talked about the stress and anxiety level has gone through the roof this year. So we really want to help, whether it's you or whether it's your pet, okay? We want to help both, okay? But we can literally do that. We do one-on-one consultations, whether it's virtual, if you can't get in the store, just reach out to me. Again, it goes in the vein that we want to help. So I'll answer the phone, I'll talk to you, and we'd love to help you live that life that you can just basically stress less, move more, and sleep better.
I appreciate that, man.
Thank you for that. It's
Me
smooth.
as well as most other people know that discounts offered in store and online don't normally get to 15%. So
Yeah.
15%. And me speaking as someone, I have taken the gummies home. I've used those. I've used, the obviously the dog treats. I gotta say, as someone who was hesitant because of the military background, seeing a drug test every single week, if you're not using CBD, this is something that you need to at least try, because it does help with everything that Nick just talked about, and I personally have seen leaps and bounds in progress in all of those areas. So, not just my pain management, but my sleep as well, and anxiety. And as a veteran, we know that when you go to the VA, they want to pump you full of the narcotics. This is a healthy, safe, affordable alternative that just brings you that peace of mind, and now you don't have to stay on a schedule. You don't have to be taking in something that's going to take a toll on your body, so to speak. But CBD is great. So that website again, trekcbd.com.
TREKCBD.com. Yep.
And BNB.
The code will be live. Yep.
That's going to be Bravo November Bravo 15 for those
That's great. I can't do that. That's great.
who need it. But awesome. So I think that's all we got for tonight.
That's it.
Yeah. This was a combination business and brews Afterbrews. I appreciate you being here, Nick.
Yeah, I love being
Thanks
here.
again.
Miss you guys. Yep.
Stand-in
Likewise.
guest. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week for the window cleaning from Connor Gross.